And we're gonna start in a comfortable seat, any seat that you guys like today. So if you have a little pillow, you wanna sit on a pillow, if you've got a yoga block, if you want to sit on shins, coming into hero's pose, whatever feels good for you guys today. And I am so glad that you are here tonight because I have a really great class planned. And we're going to be getting into the hips today. And I have a fun kind of breath exploration today. So getting into your seat, maybe closing the eyes or just finding a soft gaze in front of you, whatever feels comfortable. And then hands can be resting comfortably in the lap or maybe resting on your legs. And let's take a cleansing breath together. So deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale. Yeah, that one is for making it to your mat. And let's do that again. So deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. That is for making time for you. And we're going to do one last one together. Deep breath in, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, let it go. Letting go of everything else that happened today before this moment. And then just start to check in with the body. So we are going to be working into the hips today. So if you would like to maybe draw your attention there first and just notice how your hips are feeling. Are they feeling tight? Are they feeling open today? Maybe noticing your hip flexors. Welcome, Abra. We're going to get started in a seat. So glad you could join us. I'm going to mute you if you have questions, so feel free to unmute, okay?
Okay.
So just connecting with the body, doing a body scan, checking in for any tension. Comfortable seat. And then from the hips, maybe exploring up, traveling maybe up the spine. So starting in the low back, traveling up to the mid back, the upper part of the back, the neck. Just identifying any sources of tension and seeing if you can let go and relax. Maybe your shoulders, traveling down the arms now, the hands, the face. Let's open and unhinge the jaw. And then let that close again. Relaxing the face, the muscles in the face. And then traveling back down. So our hips being the center point of our work today. So from the hips going down to your thighs, your calves, your feet, releasing any type of tension that you might be holding there. And then start to just connect with the breath. So noticing the natural rhythm of your breath. And we're going to do a little breath exercise. So I just want you to, just a natural observation, just an observation of your natural breath here. Your inhales and your exhales. Maybe finding a little ease and joy in that breath. And then we're going to do an inhale, an exhale, and then we're going to pause on the exhale. So go ahead and take let's do a 3 count inhale. So 1, 2, 3, hold and exhale. 1, 2, 3, pause and observe the body in your pause. And we're going to do this a few times. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, exhale, 1, 2, 3, pause and observe the sensations that are in your body. So it's actually a retention of breath Go ahead and do that again. So just taking that natural cycle, inhaling, exhaling, and then pausing. And then during those pauses, just noticing what comes up. So any feelings, any emotions, maybe sensations even in the body, the heart rate, maybe the mind is still active and busy and stirring. Go ahead and do that. Let's do that 2, maybe 3 more times. I'll give you a couple of moments here to do that. We're going to incorporate this practice, this breath, this pranayama work into our practice today. And we're going to be using the pause to observe the body and to observe our practice. And go ahead and let that go. And then we're going to use our Ujjayi pranayama for the duration of the practice. So that is finding a slight constriction in the back of the throat, and then starting to inhale through the nose, mouth closed, and finding a soft whisper in the back of the throat on your inhale and your exhale. It's almost sounding like maybe an ocean. And then start to set up a pattern. And maybe you don't have, it doesn't have to be a specific count, or maybe it is, maybe that's helpful for you, but setting up a pattern of breath that you can maintain for the duration of class. So that might look like a 3 count inhale and a 3 count exhale, or just feeling and sensing a natural rhythm for you. But something that can tether the mind to the body. By using the breath, we are creating this connection for the mind so that when our practice becomes challenging, we can help calm and still the mind, and then also still and calm the heart. Or when things are a little less challenging, maybe in our slower postures and movements, it allows the mind something to stay connected to, so it isn't wandering and drifting off, and we're staying present. So I'll give you another moment to set up that Ujjayi pranayama. And we're going to, in your seat, however that is, so if you've taken a cross-legged seat, if you're in hero's pose, we're just going to take kind of a natural forward fold from here. So we're going to inhale, reach the hands to the sky, and then exhale, hinging forward at the hips, and then rounding the spine right away. Just coming into any natural forward fold, allowing the spine to round, allowing the forehead to drip down toward the earth. Maybe the forehead actually rests on the earth, or maybe you stay up on your forearms. Just whatever variation of this fold feels good. But see if you can draw your attention to your hips here. And then maybe using the power of the breath to send into your hips. So sending the energy, sending your breath, sending that life force into the hips today. And on your inhale, go ahead and walk your hands back, lift your torso up, and come up straight and tall. And then we're going to come into half bound angle. So allow the left leg to draw out to the side. And you're going to take the right foot and hug it in toward the thigh, or maybe even hugging it closer into the groin. And then we'll inhale, reach the hands to the sky, and then exhale, finding another forward fold. Rounding the spine here, coming down onto the forearms, or maybe reaching the arms all the way out and letting the forehead drip down toward the earth. Anything that's comfortable here. Keeping the left foot flexed and toes pointing up toward the sky. And then see if you can find an evenness in the hips. So I have sassy hips. My hips like to kick over to a side, especially when I'm working in these single side poses. So if you've kicked over to the right, see if you can even out the spine so that it's coming straight out, like right over the navel, right over the center of the groin. And that way the hips are even, and then you're getting a little bit into that left hamstring, maybe even opening up into that right groin, into that right inside of the thigh, inner thigh. On your next exhale, walk the hands back up, coming up nice and tall, and then switching sides. So allowing the right leg to extend out long to the right and drawing the left heel in toward the inside of the left thigh, right thigh, or even into the groin. Flexing the right foot, grow tall in the spine. Inhale, reach your hands to the sky. And then exhale, folding forward. Allowing the hands to come down to the earth, rounding the spine, maybe resting on forearms, reaching out all the way and allowing the forehead to drift down to the earth. And again, just finding balance. So if you've kicked over to the left, see if you can even out the hips. And that might mean coming up a little bit higher from the earth. So using your hands to support you and lift you out to make sure that you have that evenness in the hips. Right foot is flexed, toes pointed toward the sky. And your next exhale, walking the hands back up, coming back to center. And then from here, we're going to cross our legs and then just roll forward. We're going to meet in a tabletop pose, all fours. So checking in with alignment here, shoulders stacked over wrists. Index fingers are pointed toward the top of the mat and pressing into all 10 fingers here. Knees are stacked below hips, about hips distance. And then toes can be tucked or untucked here, whatever's comfortable for you. I like tucked. I feel like I have more balance and I'm more connected to the earth personally. But inhale, we're going to take a couple rounds of cat and cow. So inhale, allow the belly to hammock, tilt the pelvis bone, the sit bones back, and then reaching that heart forward, coming into cow pose. Exhale, round the spine. Tilt the tailbone back down toward the earth. Allow the crown of the head to be heavy, dripping down toward the earth too. Reaching up through the back space of the heart toward the sky. And exhale, cow pose, reaching that heart forward. Really feel the length in the belly here. And maybe really feel the hips in this moment. So exhale, rounding the spine, cat pose. And then taking a couple more rounds on your own. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And see if you can use the length of the breath to guide the length of the movement. So the full length of the inhale takes you at the bottom of that inhale will take you into the full expression of cow. And then at the bottom of the exhale will take you into the full expression of cat. Take a couple more rounds here. And then pause, coming to stillness, finding our tabletop. So really strong, neutral spine, thinking like a table flat. If someone were to place a glass on top of your back, a glass of water on the top of your back, it'd be so strong and sturdy here. And then maintaining that strength, maintaining that stability, we're going to do some hip circles or some knee around the hip circles. So almost like, I know it's going to sound kind of crude, but imagine like a dog with a fire hydrant. So you're going to raise the right knee. Yep. And then we're going to make these circles around the hip. But see if you can keep your spine straight, your back strong and straight and flat, and then avoid kicking open the hips. So we're not doing a big hip movement. This movement is coming from the joint, the actual ball in the socket in our hip joint. And then let's reverse directions. Breathing, staying connected to the breath. Trying to stay balanced here, tapping into the core, so really drawing the navel into the spine and activating those abdominal muscles will really help with stabilizing here. We'll go ahead and pause, allow the right knee to drop down, meet the left, and then switch sides. So open up that left knee and then make those circles. Hip hops and creaks and all of that good stuff are perfectly fine. Probably heard my bones cracking over here. And then when you're ready, switching sides, switching directions. Keeping stable here. One more circle and then pause. And then sink the hips back, come into a child's pose. Allow the torso to rest over the thighs, forehead comes down to the earth. Arms stretched out in front of you. And then just as a reminder that in class, this is our wisdom pose. This is the pose that we come to when we need rest. This is the pose that we come to when we've lost our breath and we need to check in and recenter ourselves. And I call this our wisdom pose because only you will know when you need this, when you need to access this pose. And then from your child's pose, you're going to tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, coming into our first downward facing dog. And so this is our first down dog. Let's go ahead and just warm things up, warming up the body. So maybe finding some pedaling of the feet, bending and straightening the legs. Maybe find some shifts in the hips from side to side. Maybe rolling from high plank to down dog. And just waking up the joints, getting the blood flowing here. And then finding some stillness and then just checking in with our alignment and the posture of this pose. So hands are about shoulder distance apart, index finger, just like in our tabletop, the index finger is pointing toward the top of the mat and you're pressing firmly into all 10 fingers. Lifting out of the armpits and allowing the shoulders to slide down the back. Navel's drawing up into the spine and then tuck in those low ribs. So avoid any flaring out of the ribs. We want the spine to be long and straight. Hips are reaching toward the sky. And then finding maybe a slight or gentle bend or maybe a deep bend in the knees here. Feet are about hips distance apart. So that's about a fist and a half between your big toes. And then heels are reaching down toward the earth. No bonus points if the heels touch. Bend the knees, gaze forward, and exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. We'll be in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins. Think flat spine, just like in our tabletop. And then exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, slowly rise up, coming up, rolling the spine one vertebrae at a time, meeting in mountain pose. Hands come down to the sides. So we're going to be working hips and balance today. So let's go ahead and find an even distribution of weight in our mountain pose. So we want a really strong foundation, especially when we're working with balance. So shifting our weight forward to back, front to back, yeah. And then shifting the weight from side to side. So just kind of experimenting, exploring. Feet are about shoulder distance apart, just like in our down dog. So that's a fist and a half of distance between the big toes. And then from here, take your hands, place them on your hips. And we're just gonna find an equal distribution of weight in both of our feet. And that's in the 3 corners of the feet. So that's the center point of the heel, the big toe mound and the big toe mound, the little toe mound. So in those 3 corners of each of the feet, there's an even distribution of weight. You're being anchored into the earth through those 3 corners of each of the feet. And then now that we're nice and grounded here, we're gonna shift the weight over into our right foot, starting to get lighter on the left, and then drawing the left knee up in line with the left hip. Hands are still at the hip. And then opening up the hip, opening the knee out to the left. Let's hold this for just a moment. We'll hold this for a couple rounds of breath. If you'd like to challenge the balance, maybe taking your hands, maybe bringing them to heart center, maybe reaching them up and overhead. So this is kind of a modified, I don't know, single leg mountain, almost tree pose. But see if you can really press the knee. Imagine pressing the knee toward behind you. So like if I had a string and I was pulling the knee behind you, still keeping the hips in line facing toward the top of your mat. If you wobble and fall, that's okay. And then draw the knee back to center. And then on your exhale, release the left foot. And then redistribute that weight evenly between your feet again, finding grounding in this mountain pose. And then let's challenge the balance on the other side. So shifting weight into the left foot, getting lighter on the right, and then drawing the right knee up about hip level. Very good. And then from here, opening up that hip, allowing the right knee to come out to the side here. Option to challenge the balance. Hands can come to heart center, or maybe they reach up and overhead. And then really try and activate that you're probably tapping into your right glute to pull that knee behind you. So imagine again, I have that string and I'm pulling the knee behind you, but keeping the hips level. Hip points are faced toward the top of the mat. Inhale, bring it back to center. And then exhale, release the right leg down to meet the left. And then reach the hands to the sky on an inhale. Exhale, slight bend in the knees, coming into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. We're gonna do one vinyasa. I'm gonna demo a vinyasa. So option to release the knees down to the earth. Inhale, shifting forward, and then exhale, lowering halfway, chaturanga. So making sure that you have this nice 90-degree bend in the elbows. So elbows are stacked over wrists. And then exhale, release it all down to the earth. And then inhale, reach the heart forward for cobra pose. Hands slide down by the low ribs, and elbows are tucked in, shoulder blades are sliding down the back, pressing into the tops of the feet, pressing into your pubic bone. And then exhale, tuck the toes, shift the hips up and back, meeting in a downward facing dog. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk, step, or maybe jump to the top of the mat now. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hands come to heart center. And we're gonna play a little bit more now with that breath. So at the beginning of class, we practiced with that inhale, exhale, pause with observation. And we're gonna do that a couple times with our kind of single leg modified tree pose. So hands can come to the hips, you can keep hands to heart center. On your inhale, start to shift the weight over into your right foot, your right leg, your right foot. Draw the knee up in line with the hip, and then open the knee out to the left. And then do the inhale, exhale, and hold the breath. Notice how you feel. Observe the body. Let that go. Inhale, exhale, hold the breath. Observe the body. Inhale, exhale, hold the breath. Observe the mind. Inhale, exhale, last one, hold the breath. Notice the heart. Come back to your Ujjayi breathing. Draw the knee back in to center. Release the left foot down to meet the right, and let's shift. Let's change sides. So shifting the weight into the left, drawing the right knee up in line with the right hip, opening the knee out to the right, and then playing with that breath. So inhale, exhale, hold the breath. What comes up in the body? Inhale, exhale, hold the breath. What's coming up for the body? Inhale, exhale, hold the breath. What's coming up for the mind? Inhale, exhale, hold the breath. What's come up for the heart? Come back to Ujjayi breathing. Go ahead and draw the right knee back into center. Let it go. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging at the hips, finding a slight bend in the knees. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. And this time, instead of cobra, I'm going to cue up dog for you. So option again, you can release the knees to the earth. Inhale, shift forward, shoulders go over fingertips. And then exhale, lowering halfway chaturanga. Releasing the tops of the feet onto the mat. Take an inhale and push and lift yourself up. We're reaching out through the heart. We're not dumping in the low back here. And thighs are strong, lifted, and active. We're pressing into the tops of the feet into the mat. This is upward dog. Up dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, shift the hips up and back, meeting in downward facing dog. Bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Now, upward salute. Exhale, hands come to heart center, mountain pose. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky, sink the hips back, chair pose. Checking in with your alignment, making sure that the knees are not jutting out beyond the toes and pulling the knees behind the toes here, maybe sinking a little deeper into your hips. Drawing the navel into the spine, growing tall in the spine, reaching out through the crown of the head. Hands can come to heart center or reaching up and overhead. Breathe. On your next exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Take either of those two vinyasas that I've demoed if you'd like to take a different variation, maybe push-ups or just meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, from down dog, inhale, reach your right heel to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. Check to see if the weight's been shifted in your arms and redistributing that weight evenly between your left and your right arm. Rotate the knee around the hip here. And switch directions. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, draw the right knee through the chest, step through, right foot plants between the hands, and then inhale, rise up, coming into crescent pose. Shoulders stacked over hips, just checking in with our alignment here, plugging that right femur bone into the hip socket, left femur bone comes up, and that thigh is reaching and strong and active, reaching to the sky. Nice long line of energy in that back leg. This should create a spiraling energy into our torso, allowing the hip points to face toward the top of the mat. Shoulders stacked over hips. Hands can be reaching to the sky or come to heart center. Maybe sink a little deeper into that right knee. If you need more today, sink deeper. If you need less, come out. Listening and honoring your body. Start to bend that back knee and then shifting the weight. We're coming into chair pose from here. So we're going to step all the way up, planting the left foot down to meet the right, and then sinking the hips back down, coming into chair pose, reaching the hands to the sky, sinking the hips a little deeper. And let's tap into that breath that we were practicing. So inhale, exhale, pause, check in with the body. Inhale, exhale, pause, check in with the mind. Inhale, exhale, pause, Check in with the heart. Come back to your Ujjayi breathing. Bring hands to heart center. And then slowly, as if you don't want to stand, rise up, meeting in mountain pose. Last person up gets a prize. All right. So we've done some playful exploration with our single-legged mountain. Let's go ahead and come into our tree pose. So bringing hands to hips here, start to shift the weight over into the right foot. And then let's start with the simpler variation of our tree. So taking the left heel and planting it just above the ankle, the right ankle, and using the toes and the ball mount of the left foot to kind of create this kickstand. Pausing here. Finding your balance. Again, finding that the 3 points of contact in that right foot to anchor you into the earth. Maybe draw the left foot up along the right leg a little bit higher. So maybe challenging the balance. Just avoiding any type of pressure or contact into the right knee. We don't want to be resting the heel or the foot on the right knee. We want to protect that joint. Or maybe bringing it up a little higher, maybe reaching down, grabbing onto that foot and plugging it into the right thigh here. And then again, just like we practiced earlier, imagine that I had a string attached to that left knee and we're pulling it behind you. So really opening up the hips here. Yeah, beautiful. Hands can stay at the hips. Hands can come at heart center. Hands can be up and reaching overhead. Really find a press too. If you have that contact with your thigh and your left foot, really press the two together. Yeah, fire up the glutes here. And then find that breath again. We're gonna do that inhale, exhale, pause. What's happening in the body? Inhale, exhale, pause. What's happening in the mind? Inhale, exhale, pause. What's happening in the heart? Slowly come back to your Ujjayi breathing, releasing the left foot down. Actually, let's bring that left foot back up. We're gonna come into warrior three from here. So the left knee is still in line with the left hip, finding grounding and stabilization in that right foot. So your right side is probably on fire, but stick with me here. We're gonna start to tilt the torso forward and extend the left foot strong, long behind you. Flexing that left foot, allow the toes to point down toward the mat. And that back thigh, just like in crescent, is lifting up, strong and active toward the sky. Spine is long, shoulders are sliding down the back here, reaching out through the crown of the head. Take another inhale, exhale, release the left foot down to meet the right. Coming into this forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, plank pose. Option to take the vinyasa of your choice. So maybe that was the cobra or up dog, whichever you prefer, meeting in downward facing dog. Let's take a cleansing breath together, releasing any air that's in the lungs. Deep breath in, open mouth. Exhale, let it all go. All right, let's get that all on the other side. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. Redistribute that weight between the left and the right arm. And then go ahead and rotate that knee around that left hip socket. Switch directions. Guys, my right calf is on fire. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Exhale, round the spine, draw the left knee through, planting the left foot between the hands. Get staying high on the ball of the back foot. Inhale, rise up, crescent pose. Checking in with our alignment, plugging the left femur bone in, plugging the right femur bone into the hips. Lifting that right leg, strong and active. Shoulders stacked over hips. Hands can be at heart center or reaching up and overhead. Breathe. If you would like a little more challenge, sinking a little bit deeper into that left knee. Or maybe you need less tonight. Honoring what your body needs. Is it more or is it less? Start to bend that back knee and then stepping all the way up, coming into our chair pose. Sinking the hips down, draw the navel into the spine, really stay strong. This is a really important pose to keep our core strong and active here. Spine is long, knees are behind the toes, sinking a little deeper into the hips, sitting a little bit deeper into your chair. These look great. And then doing our breath. Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up in the body? Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up for the mind? Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up for the heart? Coming back to Ujjayi breathing. And then slowly, slowly, slowly rising up. Oh, that feels so good. Coming into our mountain pose. And let's get all of that wonderful tree goodness on the other side. So beginning to shift the weight into the left foot, drawing that right right heel above left ankle and using the toes and the ball mound of the right foot to create a kickstand. Pausing here, finding those points of anchoring into the earth from the left foot. If you would like to challenge the balance a little bit more, maybe allowing that right foot to crawl up the leg a little bit more. Maybe taking the right foot, placing it on the inside of the left thigh, and really pressing them together. So the left thigh is strong and active, pressing into that right foot. The right foot is creating the same level of resistance into the left thigh. And like I have a string behind your knee, you're pulling that right knee toward you, behind you. Hips are still facing toward the top of the mat. Hands can stay at the hips. Hands can come to heart center. We're challenging the balance. Come back to that breath. Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up in the body? Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up for the mind? Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up for the heart? Come back to your Ujjayi breathing. Stay rooted in that left foot. Now we're going to start to rotate that right knee back to center. Bring hands to heart center. Coming into that warrior three. Tilting the torso forward and extending that right heel long behind us. Flexing the foot, toes pointed down toward the earth. Lifting that leg to the sky. It's growing long through the spine, reaching out through the crown of the head. Breathe. On your next exhale, allow the right foot to come down to meet the left, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Take a vinyasa or meet in downward facing dog. Take a cleansing breath. Release any air that's in your lungs. Take a deep breath in, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, let it go. From our down dog, inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Three-legged dog.
Walk the hands back, keeping that right leg lifted, coming into this standing split. Really reach that right heel up and overhead, keeping that right leg strong, straight and active. Breathe. Exhale, walk the hands back out. We're coming all the way into a one leg plank here. So you do have the option, you can release the left knee to the earth, or you can keep that left leg lifted and active. And we're gonna find that breath here. Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up? Draw the navel into the spine. Inhale, exhale, what's coming up? Inhale, exhale, what's coming up? Take another inhale, exhale, release the right foot down to meet the left, shift the hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, hinge forward to plank, right knee to right tricep, right knee to the nose, right knee to left tricep. Come back to center. Inhale, reach the right heel back to the sky, three-legged dog. Come all the way back, walking into our standing split on the once again. And then start to bend into that left knee. And keep, if you can, keeping that leg straight. We're gonna hinge all the way up and then come into our single leg mountain at the back of the mat. Beautiful. And then taking your tree pose variation. So taking that right foot, plugging it into the left thigh, pressing them together here. Take any arm variation that you like. Stay grounded and rooted into that left foot. Take one more round of breath. Draw the right knee back to center, and then step all the way forward at the top of the mat. And then we're gonna spin onto opening up our hips, allowing the toes to point toward the left corners of your mat, sinking the hips, coming into our goddess pose. And then just like we were doing in our tree where we attached a string and we were pulling the knees behind us, imagine that same thing here. So stacking shoulders over hips, and imagine there was a pulling from the knees. So this is really gonna require you to activate your glutes here. You're gonna fire up your glutes and really create this pulling sensation to come behind toward the back side of the mat or the other side of your mat. Yeah. If you want more, you can sink a little deeper into your goddess. If you want less, come up. Your next exhale, straighten the legs. Point the toes toward the left side of the mat. Hands come to hips, hinging forward at the hips with a slight bend in the knee. Coming into this wide leg forward fold. Hands come down to the earth. Release the crown of the head. Let the head be heavy here. Checking in. So we only have that last bit of work to do on the other side. And then we're in the home stretch, guys. Bringing your hands to your hips here. And slowly rolling the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Heads come up last. And then turn your right toes toward the top of the mat. Plant your hands to frame the right foot, step the right foot back to meet the left, and then option to take your vinyasa, meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky, and then walk the hands back, coming into standing split. So that left leg is strong, straight and active, foot is flexed, and that heel is lifting up. Breathing here. Pretend like you don't know what's coming. Walk the hands back out, coming all the way into our three-legged plank. Option again to release the right knee to the earth or keep it lifted and strong. We're breathing here, exploring. Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up? Inhale, exhale, pause. Draw that navel into the spine. Inhale, exhale, pause. What's coming up? Coming back to your Ujjayi breathing, allow the left foot down to meet the right. Shift the hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Coming back, oh, I almost forgot. Hinging forward to plank, left knee to left tricep, left knee to nose, left knee to right tricep. Left knee, come back to center. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky, three-legged dog. Walking the hands back, coming into our standing split. Left leg strong and active here. On your exhale, start to bend into that right knee, but shifting up, we're coming into our single leg mountain here. Hands can come to heart center. And then your tree pose of choice. Drawing that left foot in to meet the right thigh, pressing them together, going tall through the spine, opening that left knee out behind you. Breathing. Draw the knee back to center, one-legged mountain, and then stepping all the way forward and coming into our goddess pose. Hands come to heart center, sink the hips down, shoulders stacked over hips, activate and fire up those glutes and really press the knees out toward the outside edges of the foot. Yeah. If you need more, sink a little deeper. If you need less, come on up. Breathing here. The chaos of class is almost over. I know that you guys love it. That's why you show up. On your next exhale, slowly start to straighten the legs, point the toes toward the right side of the mat. Hands come to hips, and then exhale, coming into a wide leg forward fold, slight bend in the knees. If you'd like to take this forward fold, this wide-legged fold a little bit deeper, so maybe getting a little bit more into the groin, so walking the feet out a little bit wider. Hands can come down to the earth. If you have a headstand in your practice, you can take that here if you would like. I'm not going to break that down or cue that today, but if you're an experienced practitioner, this would be a great opportunity to take another inversion. So this here is an inversion. It's the heart. The head is below the heart and the heart below the hips here. Circulating fresh new blood to the head. Breathing. If you took that wider, wide-legged forward fold, go ahead and heel toe the feet in a little bit, taking hands to hips and slowly rolling the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Turn the toes toward the top of the mat and then cartwheel the hands down to frame the foot, step back, high plank pose. This is your last vinyasa of class, so option to take extra chaturangas if you'd like an extra chaturanga. If you would like to kick back all the way to child's pose, go ahead and take a child's pose. We're all gonna meet in downward facing dog. I'm gonna come and check on you all and check on time. Looking good. Great. Hinge forward to plank and then lower all the way down onto your belly. Drawing elbows beneath shoulders, we're coming into Sphinx pose. And so legs are coming straight out from your sit bones. So there's, or even trying a little wider stance, this might actually feel good. Pressing the palms and pressing the forearms into the mat and then lifting the heart up and pulling the heart forward. So finding a little bit of traction. Draw the navel into the spine here. Maybe it'll help you feel and deepen the sensation and stretch in the belly here. Breathe. Exhale, release it all back down to the earth. Stack the palms, release the forehead to rest on top of the palms here, and just pause. We did a lot of opening and exploration today. So just enjoying this moment of coming in, closing yourself off to the world. Push yourself up. We're going to meet in a seat. And extend the legs out long in front of you. Bend the right knee. You can stay here or cross the right foot over left thigh. And if you are wanting a little bit deeper twist tonight, you can draw that right heel in toward the right hip. But just taking the variation that feels good in your body and what you need today. So we're going to be taking that twist. So inhale, reaching the hands to the sky. Exhale, plant the right hand down onto the earth behind the right hip. And then the left hand can either hook or wrap around the right thigh, right knee, and pull you into the twist. Or you can even hook left elbow around right knee to pull you in. Draw the navel into the spine, find evenness in your sit bones, and grow tall through the crown of your head. Breathe. Slowly unwind, coming back to center. Uncross that right leg if you took that cross, and then switch sides. So bending the left knee, planting the left foot on the inside of the right leg, staying here, or option to cross that right leg over the left leg over the right thigh, or other option, drawing the right foot in toward the left hip. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, plant the left hand behind the left glute, and then hooking whichever variation you like around that right thigh, and twisting open to the left. Breathe. Find evenness in your sit bones. Grow tall through the spine, reaching out through the crown of the head. Exhale, come back to center. Very slowly start to unwind, and then roll all the way back, coming all the way down onto our backs. Bend the knees. Reach your arms out to the side like a T. And then start to tick-tock the knees from side to side. And the next time they come over to the left, allow the legs to fall and rest. If you'd like to deepen the sensation in this twist on the right side body, you can cross the left ankle over right thigh to create some additional traction. Or you can stay just as you are. Inhale, come back to center. Tick-tock the knees from side to side again. And then on your next exhale, allow everything to fall over to the right. If you'd like that additional
Assist crossing right ankle over the left thigh. Enjoying a deeper pull in the left side body. And cross the right ankle. Inhale, draw the knees back to center. Pause here for a moment. And then on your next inhale, draw the knees into the chest and just find some gentle rocks from side to side. Hug the knees in, maybe wrapping the arms around the shins. Draw the forehead in toward the knees. Take a deep inhale in, fill up the lungs. Hold. Open mouth, exhale, let it all go. Release the legs down to the length of the mat. Allow the arms to come down by the sides. Nestling the shoulder blades underneath the torso. Closing the eyes, letting go of any controlled breathing here, and come back to the natural rhythm of your breath. And the next time you hear my voice, I will invite you to come out of this resting pose, Shavasana. If you have started to drift off, we start to find some awareness and invite some gentle movements back into the body. So finding
wiggle in the fingers and toes. Maybe finding a deeper inhale. So the beauty of having a home practice and practicing on Zoom and online is you can stay in Shavasana if you need a longer Shavasana. If you would like to finish class in a seat with me, I invite you to roll onto a side. And when you're ready, push yourself up. And if you'd like to bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And I continue to be honored every week on this evening to meet with each of you beautiful souls and guide you in what I hope you find is a fun and maybe sometimes challenging practice. And but it's truly an honor for me to guide this and to be part of your yoga journey as you are part of mine. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Mwah.